Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we've got some top storylines going around your Houston Texans, some news, some rumors, a little bit of in between. We're going to be talking about the Texans possibly upgrading that wide receiver position. A lot of people have DM'd me different articles about Garrett Wilson, Tee Higgins, other wide receivers that the Texans could possibly add this offseason. We'll break all those down. Also, a Texans rookie, did he get snubbed? And the Jaguars. The Jaguars, are they a dumpster fire? I'll answer all these questions and more on today's show. But there's been a lot of sadness ever since the Texans lost in the divisional round of the Chiefs. Rightfully so. I mean, I was upset. It took me about 24, 48 hours to get over that loss, kind of get ready for what's in store for the offseason. But if you're at least hopeful for next season, because I think a lot of Texans fans forget where this franchise was, where we were just 2 seasons ago before DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud. We were all upset that we didn't have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Well, now we're not even thinking about the top 10 in the NFL draft anymore. And for that, I'm hopeful for next season. We have a good young roster. We have a head coach that I believe in. I believe in this team, this organization. If you have that belief, if you are hopeful for next year, go down and like the video. I should see at least 1,000 likes on this video because I, for one, am very hopeful for this Texans future. And speaking of the future, let's talk about possibly next season, some guys who could be added. The Texans, are they upgrading this wide receiver position? I'm only going to give that one Toro head. I don't think it's very likely, and especially in the ways that a lot of people are talking about. First, let's break down this one. Garrett Wilson, I know it's a fun idea. I know he is a young emerging star at the wide receiver position. Texans are not trading for Garrett Wilson. You have to give up draft capital. He's going to want to get paid here in a couple seasons. You already paid Nico Collins. I know Tank Dell is injured. I just don't see this as a viable option for the Houston Texans. Maybe Nick Caserio totally just, says F it, F them picks, and trades for a guy like Garrett Wilson. I don't know if that's necessarily the best move with some roster holes that this team needs to fill, especially with the fact that this team is low on cap space. I don't know if trading away a lot of your assets in terms of draft capital is worth getting a guy like Garrett Wilson if you're not able to add some other pieces to this roster. The same can be said about Tee Higgins. I saw a lot of people saying, Joe Mixon, he's former teammates with Tee Higgins. Maybe he can, kind of do a little bit of that recruitment. Maybe, bring him over to the Houston, say, hey, T, why don't you come on over? I don't think that's a viable option, too. Tee Higgins wants to get paid. The Texans don't have a lot of money to pay guys. So if Tee Higgins is looking to be one of the top paid wide receivers in the NFL, well, Houston's not the spot for that. And I think if he does take any type of discount, it's not going to be with the Texans. I think he's going to stay in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow and him have a really good connection. I mean, Burrow, after the season was done, said, yeah, I really want to keep my guys here in Cincy. So Jamar Chase, Tee Higgins, I think both those guys are with the Bengals for the long haul, which means I don't think Higgins is going to be a Texan anytime soon. Now, somebody who I think might be a Texan, he was a Texan this year, Stefan Diggs, a free agent this offseason. Could the Texans re-sign him? And this is where I give it that one Toro head, because I think there is a possibility that Diggs runs it back in H-Town. Stroud already said he wants him back. The question is going to be, would he be willing to take some sort of discount to play with the Houston Texans? Because according to Sports Illustrated, they gave him a contract projection of 1 year, $16 million. That's not really hitting for the Houston Texans. I don't know if I'm willing to give Diggs $16 million, a guy who's over the age of 30, coming off of season-ending, injury. I don't know if that's a guy who I'm willing to pay $16 million. I know that he is probably worth that. In the open market, with a team that has a lot of money, there's a lot of teams that are ready to spend this offseason. He could definitely get more money if he ventures out away from the Houston Texans. I think that is a fact. But is he looking for that? Is he just looking for the money, or is he looking for the best fit and where he has the best chance to win? That's the big question. And I ask you, do you think Stefan Diggs would take a hometown discount? Give me a yes, give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, perfect timing. Scroll on down and give me your answer. Do you think Diggs takes any kind of discount to stay in H-Town? I think he would. I think Stefan Diggs, I think he finally found a team, finally found, a situation where he feels comfortable and he feels like he is, a leader in this locker room and a missing piece for this Texans team. I know it was really upsetting that he got injured midseason, wasn't able to finish the year with the Texans. Who knows what this offense looks like, what this season looks like if Diggs or Dell never goes down. That three-headed monster that the Texans had at the beginning of the year, I believe, the whole Texans offensive lineup besides Stroud only played together in maybe 1 or 2 games. So I'd love to see Diggs come back, maybe a team-friendly deal in Houston. Maybe it's not a 1-year deal. Maybe it's a 2-year deal that gives him a little bit more, but the yearly average is a little lower, maybe 2 years, 20 mil, 21 mil, somewhere in that range. I think that might be a little bit more palatable for the Houston Texans if he's able to help out this offseason, because the Texans have a lot of free agents who they're going to be looking to bring back. They also want to add some guys in free agency as well. And with $10 million in cap space currently, before they make any more roster moves, they don't have a ton of wiggle room right now. So bringing back Diggs might be the best option if he's willing to take somewhat of a discount for this team. Next up, did a Texans rookie get snubbed? Did he get shamed? Did he get the short end of the stick? I'll tell you whether or not later in the show. But first, got to tell you about our amazing sponsors over at Prize Picks. Hey, the big game is right around the corner, and get started with the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there where you can get real money on watching your favorite sports. With over 10 million active members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. The big game, like I said, it's almost here, and don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the game. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick this weekend. NFC Championship game. Jaden Daniels will only need to throw 1 yard. So a couple of my buddies here at Chat Sports, they cooked up this lineup, and I actually don't mind it. Jaden Daniels, obviously, that's the free one. Prize Picks they're giving you this weekend. All he has to do is throw 1 yard, a win right there. So we went ahead, we paired that with maybe Terry McLaurin, a rushing or receiving touchdown. I think that's a possibility. And A.J. Brown, he's been quiet for the Eagles in the playoffs. I think he's due for a touchdown as well. You can use these picks or go against them. Just do it over at Prize Picks. And check out the promos tab to tail any of the super sweet Millie winners big game lineups. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of $1 million in promo funds. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get that $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Get started today with Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, Texans. Did a rookie get snubbed? That is 100% a fact. I'm going to give this one 4 Toro heads. It is 100% a rookie got snubbed. Kalen Bullock, he made the Pro Football Writers Association all-rookie team. This isn't the snub. He did really well this year. He deserves it. You know who did get snubbed, though? His teammate, his buddy, his training partner, Kamari Lassiter. He did not make the team. And I think that is an absolute sham because he was fantastic this year. And I'm not saying these 2 guys don't deserve it. It was the first one, Colin. It was the first photo. I'm not saying these 2 guys don't deserve it. And Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Both these guys made it over Kamari Lassiter. Both had excellent rookie seasons for the Philadelphia Eagles. And big part of them, making it to the NFC Championship game. But when we look at all the numbers, and I'm not even talking about just the baseline stats. I'm talking even the in-depth stats, the advanced analytics. They all favor Kamari Lassiter. Interceptions and pass breakups. Kamari Lassiter, more interceptions than both these guys combined. And Quinyon Mitchell, only 2 more pass breakups than Kamari Lassiter in 2024. You're like, okay, let's look at some more advanced analytics. Passer rating allowed. The lowest passer rating out of the 3. Look at that. It's Kamari Lassiter once again. So, you're seeing a trend here. He's looking a lot better than both of these guys. You want even more advanced analytics? Catch rate allowed over expected. Basically, the lower the number, the better you're doing in this statistic. You want as low as the number possible. Negative 11.5, minus 11.5% catch rate allowed over expected. That is fantastic. Not just for a rookie, but for any NFL cornerback playing out there. And much better than the two guys that made the team over him. And yeah, let's also look at, maybe you're like, okay, maybe you're looking at just, cover corner. What about him in the run game? Yeah, Kamari Lassiter does that better than both these guys easily. Tackles and tackles for loss has more than Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And I don't want this to turn into a smear campaign against these two guys because I really do think they are both extremely talented players. But I'm just saying my guy Kamari deserves his flowers. Who's with me? Spam those fours down in the comment section if you don't think Kamari Lassiter gets no respect. He gets no respect. Zero respect for Kamari Lassiter. This dude is one of the best corners, not even rookie. I'm not even going to say rookie corner. He is one of the best corners in the National Football League. And I think a lot of more people need to recognize that, and he deserves a lot more flowers for what he did throughout the season because you have Stingley on the opposite side who teams are afraid to go at. You're talking about the second corner, right? Teams are like, we don't want to go against Stingley. Let's throw against Kamari Lassiter more. Well, they did, and they learned because Kamari Lassiter was able to shut down people all year long. Lastly, on the show, Jaguars. Are they a dumpster fire? I actually changed this right before I was filming because I gave it 3 Toro heads. I changed it to 2 because the recent news around the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going ahead and firing GM Trent Baalke, which very interesting. Yeah, we can go ahead and show this one first, Colin. Like that move. This was basically the first thing that came out from Jaguars owner Shad Khan right after the news hit. This was his official statement on the firing of Trent Baalke. Following several discussions with Trent Baalke this week, we both arrived at the conclusion that it is in our mutual best interest to respectfully separate effective immediately. Trent leaves us with my deepest appreciation for his efforts over the past 5 seasons. Ethan Waugh will serve as an interim general manager and play an important role with others as we continue the process of interviewing candidates to serve as our new head coach. I'm deeply committed to building a winner here in Jacksonville and look forward to introducing a new head coach who will make that happen for our players and fans alike. So, really, this came down to this. They were looking at their number one guy. Their number one option to be their head coach was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. And he turned down the job. He turned down a head coaching job to say, I'm actually okay with just being a coordinator for Tampa Bay. I would rather be a coordinator for Tampa Bay than the head guy in Jacksonville. That's how bad it was in Jacksonville that they felt, we need to fire our GM if we even want a chance at hiring a coach. Because he wasn't the only one that said that, which Ben Johnson, I don't think the Jaguars ever had a chance at Ben Johnson. He was the number one coach out there. He was either going to go to the Bears or the Raiders. But in talking about the Jags job, he said he didn't want to go there because of the organizational structure. Yeah, he's saying, I don't want anything to do with that Jags front office and the shit show going on in Jacksonville. So, this was a move that needed to be made by the Jags, and I don't know if it's a little bit too little too late because there's already been head coaches that have kind of turned down the job towards Jacksonville and said, I don't want to go there. So the Jags said, you know what? If you're the head coach here, you're calling all the shots. You're going to choose the GM. You're going to choose whatever you want because they are that desperate for a head coach after firing Doug Peterson that they're like, you know what? Whoever comes here, you get everything you want because it wasn't working before with Trent Baalke. And as a Texans fan, you know what this reminded me of with Trent Baalke? The weird situation there, because I know a lot of Jags fans were upset and they wanted Trent Baalke gone before even Doug Peterson. Remind me a little bit of the Jack Easterby dilemma. And if you're a real one, if you're a Texans fan for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This was giving me a little bit of deja vu with him where the Texans were keeping a guy on the staff that nobody really outside the organization understood why. Nobody understood why he was giving so much power and so much leniency and such a long leash. The Jags, they needed to get rid of Balky if they wanted a chance at all to compete. And they did just that. And it might look like a little bit of a dumpster fire, but the Jags did make the right move today in getting rid of Trent Baalke. And next step is they need to find a guy who's going to be the head coach there. They have 2 interviews set up this week with Raiders defensive coordinator Patrick Graham and former Jets head coach Robert Saleh. Both those guys could be in on getting this job. And I think maybe the firing of Trent Baalke says both those guys would have only taken the job if Baalke's out of the picture. So now that he is, maybe it is one of those guys, or maybe the Jags kind of reopen this search and try to look at some other names. Either way, the Jags, it's a dumpster fire right now, but definitely made the right move in getting rid of Baalke to kind of clear the deck for whatever head coach is coming next in Jacksonville. Now, no matter what happens with the Texans, our AFC South foes, I got you covered here on the channel. Videos every single day, all year long, 100% free. Never miss a moment of Texans football all year long. Get started today with Texans Today. Hit that sub button. We just passed 26,000 subscribers. So what are you waiting for? You made it to the very end of the video. There's nothing to lose. Go down and hit that sub button and join us for more Texans videos all year long.